Hey everyone, this is Alexi. Welcome to Haircut Horrors and Bloopers. I just want to thank you for stopping by to hear a story or two. I've got another great story for you this evening. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments. Enjoy. Has anyone ever said to you, don't ever cut your hair? Why would that be such a big deal? Listen to this woman's harrowing experience about the first time she decided to get more than a trim.
They say idle hands is the devil's workshop, so I guess the boredom of having free time on my hands got the better of me. You can only watch so much Netflix on TV. It was a beautiful spring day, and I decided to take the top down of my Jeep Wrangler and go for a ride. I usually braid my long hair or ponytail it before going out with the top down, but I was in a hurry to enjoy my day out, and I kept a ball cap underneath the seat, and I would put it on as I was driving down the road. But when I got going, I reached underneath the seat, and it was gone. I remembered that I took everything out when I cleaned up the inside, and I guess I forgot to put it back. So the wind was blowing my hair around, and it really became aggravating, where I kept having to push it out of my face every few minutes as the wind whipped it back and forth. But it didn't stop me from having a beautiful ride out into the country after the suffocating city. As I was driving down an old country road, I noticed next to a plain, very small cinder block building one of those large, portable advertisement signs, and even though it was missing some letters, I managed to figure out the whole phrase, women and men's haircuts, and then I pieced together the words scissors, clippered, or razor cut. Come on in. It was a hair salon. Even though I smiled at the sign, it did get me to thinking, and I realized I had not had my hair cut in over a year. I didn't see any cars in the little dirt clearing parking area, but there was a neon-lit open sign in the window, so I decided to check it out. There was a woman who looked to be in her early 40s sitting down reading a magazine, and when I opened the door, she looked up immediately and smiled as if she knew me. But I figured she was just glad to have a potential customer come in. She told me to come on in and sit down. She grabbed out a barber's cape to put around me, and I pulled my long hair up off my neck so she could fasten the tight around me and then turn me towards the mirror. She started brushing out my hair, and just like always, when you first have to interact with someone, you bring up things like the weather and such. So I said, it was such a beautiful spring day. I just decided to get out, and it was a good choice. It really feels nice out today. She agreed, but then said,
better enjoy it while you can. It's going to be a hot summer.
I guess I started feeling a little more comfortable around her and just started chatting. I see your sign out there says you do scissors, clippered, and razored cuts.
Oh, I do it all. Whatever you want, I can do it.
I then said, well, I just wanted a trim today is all.
No problem.
And a few moments went by, and we didn't say anything else. And then she just started doing small talk and asked me,
have you always had your hair long?
And I told her that it had always been long and that I've never had more than a few inches cut off at one time. I just mostly let it grow, and it has been way down on my back my whole life. Silence continued as she brushed my hair, and then she said,
have you ever thought about cutting it short? I mean, really short.
And my eyes immediately bugged out, and I said a long, drawn-out "you." No.
Well, you should. It would look really great on you. You have the face and look for short hair.
Immediately, I started making all of these grunts and sounds of defiance of never cutting off my long hair.
I used to think like that, but when I finally cut my long hair short, I never regretted it. It was so much work and upkeep. Now I hardly have to mess with it. It's easy to maintain too. I think every woman should cut their hair short at least one time in their life, just to know the difference between the feeling of having long hair and short.
It got really quiet between us as she finally finished brushing out my hair, and she turned away and was reaching for her scissors. I still don't understand what happened next, but it seemed like my mind processed in an instant. the whole subject of cutting my long hair short. And I mean, cutting it much shorter. It suddenly just seemed to appeal to me. So I said I don't know, and then, after a pause, how short? And I saw she smiled and realized that she got my attention by saying that,
I don't know, maybe we could just start cutting it shorter and then go from there? Maybe cut it shorter and shorter, little by little, so it won't be a shock all at once.
it sounded reasonable, and I said, okay, maybe I do need a change.
You won't regret it.
What caught me off guard next was that she immediately turned me away from the mirror where I could not see. My eyes diverted over to the window of the shop, and I looked out and saw her sign that had first caught my attention, and I read the words scissor, clippered, razor cuts. It seemed like time froze, or at least I froze because I can't explain exactly what happened next or how it happened. But I only hear a pair of electric clippers turn on and feel a large tooth comb go down the back of my head, and the clippers swipe through the back of my hair and up the nape of my neck. And they were going up pretty high. It looked as if she was just chopping it all off with those clippers. How short was she going to cut it? As I said, I really just froze up and did nothing while she cut my hair off short. Out of the lower corner of my eyes, I saw large clumps of hair falling down into my lap. And I really didn't know how short she was cutting it until after minutes later. She turned the clippers off and turned me around to the mirror. And then I could see. I let out a gasp.
Yeah, I know. The first time is always the hardest, but it will look good when I'm finished. I promise you.
My hair was now cut up into a short, high bob all the way to the tops of my ears. It almost looked like a bowl cut. She then started razoring the edges, which didn't take long, and then took a pair of thinning shears and began to thin out the thickness of most of my hair. Then she pushed my head forward and took the clippers and started running them up underneath, up and down the nape of my neck. My heart was racing and adrenaline was pumping, and when she turned off the clippers,
Now, how about that?
I looked up and a look of shock and disbelief was all over my face.
It'll take a while to get used to it, but after a while, you'll love it.
I immediately started running my fingers through my hair. Gone were the tangles that I felt before, but also the thickness of my hair. There was nothing there. It was basically all gone and all thinned out. What happened to cutting it off little by little?
Well, I just took the liberty of cutting more off all at once. It saved some time of stopping and starting. I guess I just got clipper happy. Sometimes the stylist just has to make the decision for the client. Seems like the more I buzzed off, the better it looked.
I don't know if this is going to work. It is so short. It's really too short. You cut my hair really short. I don't think the look suits me.
Well, sorry. I thought it would be good look for you. Makes you look more mature.
It makes me look older.
I like it.
Why did I do this? Why did I let you talk me into this? All my hair is gone now. It will take forever to grow back like it was. You just chopped it all off.
I really like it.
I guess you still want me to pay for this bad haircut.
I hope you're going to pay cash. I don't take checks. That will be $19.99, and that's a bargain.
I actually thought I was going to cry, but I didn't. I did manage a smile and even said thank you as I paid her. She smiled big and told me to come on back and get it trimmed every so often as I was heading out the door.
And don't you worry when your friends ask you why you cut off all of your hair. Just tell them you were ready for a change.
As I left out of her shop and the door closed behind me, it sounded like she was still talking to me, but her voice was muffled.
It not only makes you look older, but you look fatter too.
Couldn't believe she said that. Over that next week, I was so disappointed that I cut all of my hair off so short. It would take years for it to grow back to where it was before. The worst part is that after about a few months, it started to look awful. And where it had been shaved close with the clippers, it started to grow sticking out uneven and like a porcupine. If you can manage to get through the growing out phase and not give in to cutting it back off again before it finally grows back out, you will be okay. Everyone said for me to never cut my hair, and they were right.
Leave a comment on what you thought about that story. That was some great stories we heard today. I hope some of them inspire you. Come back for more haircut horrors and bloopers. More stories. More intense haircutting fun. Thank you. Great news. I'm planning on cranking out a new video every day. Don't forget to subscribe. If you like true horror stories, please check out my other channel, Fear Without End. Please help make this channel grow. Tell your friends to check out these stories. It would be great if you could check out my other stories while waiting on the next ones to come out. See you next time. Leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.